That's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
And the crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
David Montgomery on the Lions. Former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Only Football Podcast. Today, we're going to be doing our Week 2 NFL predictions. We're going to be talking all the games starting tonight, Thursday Night Football between the Commanders and the Packers, all the way to our Monday night doubleheader. We're also going to be doing our top five. And of course, we're going to end it all off with the Chives with Kyle. Oh, let's get it. America is football.
Football is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass. For the moment in time, I don't give a damn. Oh my God. You loved it.
30 to 27. Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Only Football Podcast. I'm Kyle Netrick.
All right, that's Kyle.
We got week 2 coming at us faster than ever. Starting tonight, we have the Commanders and the Packers. And this game, if I had to don't touch it, it's probably this one. There's 2 games that I'm really torn on. Like this game, I'm leaning towards Green Bay just because this game is in Lambeau Field. It's a tough place to play. Should be a great divisional match, though. A divisional round playoff game, I'm thinking. I could see this game happening later in the season. If we get it in the divisional round, okay. I wouldn't be shocked if we get it in a conference game. These are 2 teams that I'm very high on. I have the Commanders winning this division, which means no NFC East back-to-back champion in 21 years?
20. I think at the end of this year would make 22.
I think both teams are going to score points in this game. The Green Bay offensively, they're really balanced. They run the ball with Josh Jacobs 18 to 20 times. So we know that they're going to run the football. But we also saw Jaden Reed lead the team with targets. We saw Christian Watson get a 1-year extension with Green Bay.
Yeah,
we didn't see a lot out of Golden week 1. A lot of people were ready to just throw him into the wide receiver 1 territory. That's not what we saw right off the bat, but this is the way the Packers kind of run their offense. It's very similar to what they're doing in Buffalo. So I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers, but the spread being a 3.5. I do like the Commanders plus 3.5. I think this is going to be closer than that. I think the winner wins by a field goal. But this was a hard one.
Yeah, this one, it was tough. And honestly, this may be 2 weeks in a row where Thursday Night Football is actually like must watch. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Right? Like it is kind of crazy to see that just because of our history with Thursday Night Football. I feel like ever since we started this podcast, and maybe in general, maybe I'm just speaking just ill on our luck, but this is a good one. And real quick, Jinja, what up to your Uncle Scott, Ginger, Lil E and Crafty in the chat. What's up to everybody? What's up to your Uncle Scott, Ginge? But this was a tough one to predict. I think it's going to be very close. And that's why I think we're going to have 2 weeks in a row where Thursday Night Football is just awesome, because these are two teams, two of which should have Super Bowl expectations this season. Washington Commanders coming into Green Bay after fresh off of NFC conference championship game that they had. Unfortunately, they lost, but the Green Bay Packers looked really good last week against Detroit. Their defense absolutely smothered anything Detroit had going on. And Jordan Love, for the most part, maybe I'm not sure if you watched the game or not, Kyle, but his offensive line gave him all the time in the world. He did make some mistakes. Those interceptions did not count against Love because there were flags, but he still is kind of good, I feel like, for those type of mistakes, which is the reason why I think it's going to be a lot closer. Also, Micah Parsons in 8 games versus the Commanders and his former defensive coach in Dallas, Dan Quinn, 10.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 15 quarterback hits. He is going to make Jaden Daniels' life hell in this game. But at the end of the day, all of that being said, I think Green Bay does come out with the win. Unfortunately, they're going to go 2-0, stay first in the NFC North. And this is going to be a very close game. This is going to, I think, is going to be as close as Ravens and Bills was. What was that? A 1-point game when it was all said and done, 2-point game, whatever it was. This is going to be that close. Yeah. The defenses the Green Bay Packers defense is much better than the Commanders, but the offenses, I want to give the edge to Washington just because they do have Debo and Terry McLaurin, and their rookie running back, I'm forgetting his name, Krosky Merritt, whatever it is. I think him and Josh Jacobs are going to do pretty well in this game. But again, at the end of the day, I'm giving it to the home team with Green Bay. It's going to be close. I got the Packers winning.
Yeah, and we'll see with Washington. They had their 7th game since the start of last season with over 200 rushing yards. Only the Baltimore Ravens are they tied with. So they are a team that and is it a coincidence that Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels are the two teams that have over 200 rushing yards 7 times?
Yeah.
Not really. So
yeah,
Green Bay getting Micah Parsons, that speed is going to be necessary. We'll see if they can stop the run for the Commanders like they did with Jahmyr Gibbs and that Lions offense, which, by the way, that was the fewest rushing yards the Lions have had in a game in, since
last year,
2023. Fewest rushing yards and points in a game since 2023. So the Packers, they were up for the challenge against the Ben Johnson-less Lions. We'll see if they can have the same success against the Commanders. And our next game.
Sorry, just real quick.
Yeah.
Kyle, is Malik Willis better than Love?
I'm going to say I think he does make an appearance in this game. I don't think it's because there's an injury. I think Matt LaFleur is going to bring him down in the game around maybe a 4th down. I think we're going to see LaFleur be more aggressive than we've ever seen with him with the Packers.
Ooh, okay.
I think the Packers are a team that's on a mission, and I think you're going to see them a lot more aggressive. But I think Malik Willis does come in this game and keep the funny joke going.
I had to do it for Lily. I
don't blame you. The Jets and the Bills. Wow. Well, the Jets, they lose their home opener, which sucks because they're 0-8 in their games decided by 6 or fewer points since last season. So if it's a close game, they're on the wrong side of it every time, it seems like.
Yeah.
They're also 0-1 for the 6th time in the last 7 years. So a team that hasn't been able to start fast by any means.
Yeah.
With all that said, I'm very encouraged by what I saw on Sunday. I thought I thought Justin Fields looked really good.
Mhm.
Now, when you watched him in Chicago and you watched him in New York, even when he looked good, it was like there was still something to be desired. It wasn't like he
Mhm.
was slinging the ball.
Mhm.
A lot of times it was just like he had a couple crazy plays and he ran for 150 yards and had,
Yeah.
3 total touchdowns. But this was crazy. This was like he was moving around in the pocket better than I've ever seen. He would run up like he was going to run and then he would throw it.
Mhm.
He really had the Steelers defense, which is a really good defense. He had them in scrambling all around in shambles, just didn't know what to do. I wasn't expecting Breece Hall to have the kind of success he had immediately. Garrett Wilson is clearly the number one guy for Justin Fields. And
Yeah.
if they could do it against the Pittsburgh, Steelers defense, the Bills defense is very bad right
Yeah.
now. They're
Yeah.
in bad shape. I mentioned that they like to run 6 DBs on the field, sometimes 7. That's because they don't have anybody talented enough to go
Mhm.
one-on-one on the outside. They
Mhm.
rely on these guys being athletic and just
Mhm.
covering their side of the field. But is Tre'Davion their corner Tre'Davion, what is it?
Oh, for the Jets, right?
For the Bills. They got their starting corner. I wrote it down
Johnson
here. Here we go. Hold on.
or Bernard?
Here it is. Big issue. Secondary. Okay, so Cole Bishop, he looked like crap. I
Yeah.
mentioned this before we saw that Ravens game, that
Mhm.
this is a big secondary issue. Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White. Why is that so hard today?
Oh yeah, it's too early, dude. It's too early right now.
Tre'Davious White.
Mm.
He was out last week. That was a problem. They also drafted Maxwell Harrison in the first round. He was out.
Mhm.
So they play these formations where they rely on a lot of DBs to be on the field, and everybody that they're going with is unproven or they're not good.
Mhm.
So that's going to maybe allow Justin Fields to have another big game. And I'm not saying like I'm taking the Jets, but Josh Allen historically has struggled on the road against the Jets. So I am
Wow.
saying I'm taking the Jets with the points. If
Mhm.
they pull off the upset, I would not be shocked based on how they played last week, but I'll definitely take the Jets. I think they're getting like 4.5 in this game, maybe even more.
Yeah, currently on CBS Sports, it is plus 6.5 for the Jets.
Yeah, I'm hammering that. That's one of my favorite bets of the week. 6.5. I think
Mhm.
the Jets can do it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how historically uneven it's been for Josh Allen against the Jets. What I will say is I was super impressed with Justin Fields as well. What I will say is there was a lot of things that he did that didn't like surprise me. Like a lot of the things he was doing, it was the same in Chicago, kind of running up to the line of scrimmage, looking like he's about to run, and then boom, pass to Garrett Wilson, boom, pass to his tight ends, to Breece Hall, whatever it may be. But that is not to say that what he did against that Steelers defense wasn't impressive, right? Like that's not to say that at all, because what he did, not only with his legs but with his arm, was awesome. And Jets fans should be excited to see what he can do against this weaker Buffalo defense. And Breece Hall looked good. Garrett Wilson, like you mentioned earlier, is clearly the number one target for Justin Fields. I mean, going back to Ohio State, the Bears, as a Bears fan, I was hoping that they'd get Garrett Wilson or even JSN, just so Justin Fields could have some familiarity, similar to Bo Nix with Troy Franklin at Oregon, which I think does kind of help that quarterback settle a bit when you already have that relationship you can connect to. But at the end of the day, man, while Josh Allen did struggle, we have to remember, I think it was in the fourth quarter alone against the Ravens, Josh Allen threw for like 250 yards or something. And that's just because obviously you're going to try to win the game. And Josh Allen is a gamer, dude. We cannot discount what he did against that Ravens team in crunch time, because they were down well over 2 scores. And Josh Allen brought them back in order to win that game. The Jets defense too, didn't look great against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we got to remember Aaron Rodgers threw for 4 touchdowns, 200 whatever yards, and just diced them at the end. Yes, it was a special teams fumble on the kickoff that kind of got Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers into that red zone area for that comeback. I don't know how much the Jets are going to make mistakes like that again against the Buffalo defense and special teams. But like you said, plus 6.5, I think I might be taking that as well if I were a bettor. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills to win this, and this is going to be offense, at least from the Buffalo Bills side. I think the Jets can manufacture a lot of offense as well, and the over as it stands now is 46.5. I think I'll take that over all day.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Jets Steelers game, I was like, hammer the under. It wasn't a game that I thought 66 points would be scored in.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, whoa, of all games, right? Jets Steelers was not on the bingo card. And the Jets, they've lost 8 of the last 10.
Oh, wow.
Against Buffalo. So,
yeah.
Another team that got a tough hit, the Chicago Bears, they take a tough loss on Monday night, giving up 21 fourth quarter points to JJ McCarthy. And they're going to come into this game with plenty of fight. Ben Johnson doesn't want to start 0-2, but neither does the other guy, unfortunately, for the Bears. The Lions are also 0-1. So you got two teams that are just desperate for a win here. Caleb Williams, I think, can come into this game and take advantage that Detroit didn't really look quite the same last week. They didn't look the same offensively without Ben Johnson calling the plays.
Yeah.
But the Lions have the experience, and they should be able to pull out the win. The Bears are going to keep it close enough to cover. This is a week I love the covering team. I think a lot of the lines are just a little too much. Right. DeAndre Swift, I think, gets in the end zone. 52% of red zone rush has gone to DeAndre Swift. The Lions allowed 13 running backs to have a rushing touchdown last season. That's 26th in the NFL. And then DJ Moore, who gets an impressive 30.9% red zone target share. The Lions have allowed 6 wide receivers to get a touchdown. I think if you're looking anytime touchdown, it's either Swift or Moore, and for the Lions, it's Gibbs or St. Brown.
Yeah.
But this game is going to be important for both teams. I think the Bears are going to keep this one close. I think the official spread right now, they're giving the Bears plus what are the
6.
Bears? 6
per CBS. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you feel that confident betting the Lions to win by an entire touchdown after a pissed off Ben Johnson? I mean, even teams that go on to be 3-win teams, they usually don't look like it right away. Like the Bears were 4-2 last year, by week 6. So
yeah,
I don't see the Bears being the type of team that just gets blown. I think we're stuck in the old ways of thinking. The lines have not adjusted to the 2025 season when I see the Lions getting 6.
Yeah, this game does not give me any confidence, especially after what I saw last week with the Bears on Monday Night Football. Dan Campbell came out and said, we are going to win this game. We have to, after their loss against the Packers last week. And, again, you take that out of context. You think that Dan Campbell is so confident in beating the Bears that he already predicted a win. The rest of it is the rest of that quote was the Bears are saying the same thing too. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a problem. We saw the amount of penalties the Bears offensive line had against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Maybe 1 or 2 of those penalties in general weren't very good. The one against Darnell Wright and a holding call when he pancaked one of the defensive players, That wasn't a hold. There was a pass interference where the guy slipped. That wasn't a pass interference. It's just the Soldier Field sucks ass. I still think that Aiden Hutchinson and this defense for the Lions is going to be a problem. You did see them cause some sort of havoc to Jordan Love and that really good offensive line that the Packers have. Now, the Bears have an obviously much improved offensive line, but I don't think it's as good as the Packers offensive line. So I think Aiden Hutchinson and Anzalone, that defensive line is going to cause some pressure on Caleb. And Caleb, for, as much as we talk shit about him constantly going out of the pocket, trying to play Superman, he did really well against that Vikings pass rush. I think they had only given up 1 sack that entire game, which should have been or could have been 5. So while I think he is going to be able to kind of get out of that pressure from Aiden Hutchinson, what have you, that defensive line for the Lions, I think they will still get to him pressure wise, sack wise. On the Bears side, you're right. Ben Johnson is pissed. I mean, I saw his post-game conference. I've seen his comments so far throughout the week after that Monday night loss. And he's saying there's things that we messed up on, and it starts with me, and I could have been better, and we're going to improve. Is basically the gist of what he was saying. In that post-game conference, he did not look happy one bit. So he is going to be working this team this week and making sure that Caleb Williams makes those throws, stays in the pocket, and if he has to, gets out of the pocket when under pressure. The plus 6.5 for the Bears, I think it might be closer than that. We got to remember that these divisional games are always much closer than expected. But I think there's going to be a lot of sloppy play on both offenses, because the Bears, for the most part, too, the defense looks decent. Like, they were getting to JJ McCarthy, and while it was a rookie quarterback, look what he did in the fourth quarter, basically getting his confidence back. And Dan Campbell can instill that confidence into his offense. Jared Goff doesn't need it. He's a 7-year, 8-year veteran, whatever it is now, and he's a damn good quarterback. So I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I'm going Bears. Give me the Bears to take the dub against Dan Campbell. Although it is very difficult to see the division champion, what am I saying? The defending division champions going 0-2. I think it's going to be very possible. Even in Detroit, it's going to be a tough environment. But I know Ben Johnson is going to go into Detroit knowing a lot more than someone going into any other team and being like, we can beat them. I know how to beat them. Let's go out there and beat them. Give me the Bears.
Yeah, I'm not like, I don't feel the way I felt about the Lions this year. So for me, it's not like, what? The Lions, because I expect them to regress significantly. I expect them to have a winning record at the end of the year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they don't hit double digits. Like, that's just where I'm at. But the Bears' running game was horrendous. So the more I looked into it, the Bears' running game, they had a 17.6 success rate running the football. No team week 1 finished below 22.7.
Wow.
So the Bears need to figure out how they can run the football, which like the strength of their line on paper, it looked like it was the interior.
Yep.
So they should be able to run the football. We'll see if they can do it week 2. But I'm pulling for you. I really am. I think the Bears need to get the monkey off their back. And plus, I saw Josh McDaniels beat Bill Belichick, and he was fist pumping, and it was like the best day of his life. And this is going to be, I've already seen all the memes with like, what's that show on Apple TV when they're in the elevator?
Oh, Severance.
No, it's the one where he takes over a soccer team.
Oh, Ted Lasso. Yeah.
There's like, the guy that he had on his staff that went on to be a head coach somewhere else, and they're in the elevator together. And it's like Ben Johnson this week.
I love it. That's actually good. That's a good one.
Yeah. So it'll be a good one. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. This is one that I would feel probably I think Cleveland's going to be an interesting team this year because they weren't very good on the offensive side of the ball, but they held Cincinnati to Joe Burrow's fewest passing yards in his career in a win. He was able to hold Burrow to something insane like 106 passing yards.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Which is just, you don't do that to a guy like him. It was Joe Burrow 113.
Yeah, 113.
It fewest in a win for Joe ever. The Bengals were able to get a 1-0 start, but that's only because all 17 of their points were off of 3 turnovers.
Yeah,
from Cleveland. Cleveland basically gave them the game. And Cleveland also had a kicker that missed a PAT in the third quarter that would have tied the game. He was making his NFL debut, so keep an eye on that. Cleveland's defense looked a lot better than we anticipated. Myles Garrett, he had like 3 consecutive sacks in this game.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the guy is just doing his thing. So as much as I want to be like, this is an easy, like Ravens minus, 8, I think they were getting 8.5 last time I looked at it because they're mad. It was supposed to be,
it's moved up to 11.5. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like and people are still going to continue to go, yeah, Ravens 11.5, no problem. Yeah. I think it's kind of early to say no problem. I'm call me crazy. I would go 11.5 Cleveland because
take the points.
The way Cleveland held Joe Burrow down, like that means something, right? I mean, but also Joe Burrow was the most pressured quarterback, and he didn't have any time in the pocket because they no matter what or how many injuries, they won't fix his offensive line. I don't know what to do with this game. Maybe you can convince me as far as the spread goes. Now I'm taking the Ravens to win it.
Yeah.
But I find the spread very tough on this game.
I do too. And most of that is because of the Cleveland defense. Now you had mentioned how they held Burrow to just such a very low passing yards in that game. And if you had Jamar Chase, if you had T. Higgins on your fantasy squad, you're pulling your hair out and being like, what? But we do have to remember as well, like the Bengals start off slow, man. If it wasn't for Smith, whatever his name was, the kicker for the Cleveland Browns, the Bengals are looking at an 0-1 start again, right? Like for the 4th, 5th season in a row, whatever it is. And I think the Cleveland defense is going to do its job against Baltimore. Myles Garrett is still a monster. He's 30 years old, but he's playing like, I don't know, his 2nd, 3rd year in the league. And he just got that extension too. So he's still playing like a monster. I think in my opinion, you do take Cleveland with the points, but at the end of the day, the Ravens are going to win this. The Cleveland defense is good, but if you got Lamar and you got Derrick Henry running down your throat, running on the outside, eventually over the span of this game, you're going to get tired. And I think that is when the Ravens can take advantage of that, because not only do they have Lamar and Derrick Henry that can, pound you in the middle, or go outside and outrun you. You got Justice Hill, who can do a little bit of both there. So I think Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson gets tired, throw in Justin Hill for 2 runs in a row, especially, again, after you've been trying to tackle Derrick Henry for over a quarter, 2 quarters, whatever it is. They're going to throw some speed at you with Justice Hill and Lamar Jackson. I'm taking the Ravens to win this. What I will say too, Jair Alexander last week against the Bills had a tough game. I mean, he had given up almost 90 yards on only 3 receptions. He unfortunately tackled Keon Coleman there in the final minute or 2 before Buffalo eventually won the game. He should have just let him score. But he had a tough game. Look for Jair Alexander to bounce back, because while I think Jerry Jeudy is a good wide receiver in this system, at least, I don't think there's anybody else that Jair Alexander can't cover. And I think him and Jerry Jeudy are gonna battle it out in this game. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Baltimore to take this dub. They're gonna go 1-1. And Cleveland, again, this is a divisional matchup. That's why I would take Cleveland with the points again if I were a better. But Joe Flacco, their kicker, I can't see them beating this Ravens defense.
Yeah, and the more I sat on it, the more I will take the Ravens and with the 11 because first, and just to make this really quick, we all know that Cleveland's not winning the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, correct?
100%.
Like we all understand that collectively. So what are we doing? Like why is Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel on the bench when they're missing valuable reps if winning a Super Bowl is not even on the table?
Yeah.
Right. You would only make that sacrifice if you had a quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers who you're like, maybe we can get it done with a good defense. But that's not where you're at as a team. You only have 17 games now because, 16 games. You have only 16 left to determine whether your future franchise quarterback is on your bench or you're going to package Jacksonville's number one with your number one, which may be a high number one, to move up in a quarterback heavy draft and take a very talented quarterback. And you're wasting these weeks with Joe Flacco. It's like you're in purgatory. You're neither there nor here. You're in this weird limbo where we're not gaining any new information. It's a waste,
Yeah.
So I think this game could very easily in the first quarter be like 17-3. And it's just like the Ravens. This is their home opener. So the Ravens and Lamar, I could see them scoring like 3 touchdowns in their first 3 drives. And then maybe Shedeur Sanders coming out in the third quarter. Which should happen anyway, right? It doesn't make sense what they're doing in Cleveland, but what do you come to expect it not to make sense in Cleveland, right?
Even not even if you're just a Cleveland fan, just an NFL fan.
Right.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars going against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is like one of my sneaky games of the week. I am absolutely pumped for this game because Joe Burrow was like what Trevor Lawrence was in back-to-back years. Like they were these like icons in college that only lost one game in their entire collegiate career, won national championships, were the undisputed first overall pick in the draft. Joe Burrow has had success, but they both ultimately earned those $100 million long-term deals. And now they're going against each other, and they're in kind of, in my opinion, like they both have something to prove this year. For Jacksonville, I thought they looked good in their opening game. Like there was that weather delay, and that kind of just sucked a lot of the energy out of the game. I think most people stopped watching because the 4:00 game started.
Yeah.
And then they moved on, But we did see Travis Hunter get 8 different targets. So that was encouraging. We saw Brian Thomas Jr., his day was saved by a touchdown run. But ETN was like the big story in this game. Like he really ran hard. He ran good. And Liam Cohen's offense looked good. Like they scored 28 points, I believe, week 1. Let's see. Do I have it here? I don't know exactly
26.
26. So, but the reason I'm taking the Jags to win this game is because Trevor Lawrence, the least pressured quarterback in week 1. How in the world have the Jags turned it around so quick? It is so exciting, right? He was only pressured on 18.2% of his dropbacks. The O-line for Jacksonville allowed 0 sacks. Just on the other side of the ball with the Bengals, you got the quarterback that is taking the most pressure. I think he had like 2.5 seconds to throw.
Mhm.
I'm always going to go with the quarterback that has time to throw, because especially if that quarterback has weapons like Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And the Bengals barely squeaked by Cleveland last week. So
Mhm.
I like Jacksonville in this one, although I don't believe that they're going to be the unanimous favorite by any means.
Because they have, it's 3.5, and they're actually giving Jacksonville plus 3.5 in this game. And I know they're going to be, I know they're going to be in Cincinnati. This game is going to be my don't touch it.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't like the spread. I don't like either of these teams because, again, I mentioned earlier, the Bengals start off slow, and they started off slow last week against Cleveland. Again, if the Cleveland kicker doesn't miss that field goal and that extra point, the Bengals are looking at a 0-1 season. The offense looked bad. The defense looked better than the offense in week 1. And if you're a Bengals fan, you're like, what? We have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown and Joe Burrow. How did that happen, right? And Jacksonville, they played a really bad Carolina defense. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than the spread is saying. And to be honest, I don't know if either of these teams impressed week 1 because it's the Panthers. Bryce Young looked like crap. What I will say is, if Travis Hunter is going to have these situational moments as a cornerback, whether it be Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, look for one of these guys to have a really good game with Joe Burrow. I don't really know how much of a pass rush the Jacksonville Jaguars have. Who's their number 1 pick a while ago?
Trayvon Walker.
Again, this game had a delay that Red Zone just stopped showing it, obviously. And even when it came back, I was so focused on the other games that I didn't really get to take a look at what the Jags were doing. I don't know how much the pass rush is going to affect Joe Burrow. What I will say is that Hendrickson did a pretty damn good job on Joe Flacco and that Cleveland Browns offensive line. So I would say that Hendrickson and how much better the defense played for the Bengals, I think they're going to apply a little bit more pressure there on Trevor Lawrence. This is probably going to be a pretty low scoring game, maybe like 20 points each team, something like that. But I think I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I like Chase Brown as running back. He didn't do much. I like Joe Burrow to have a bit of a bounce back game in their home opener with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins still there. But again, look for Travis Hunter for these, whether it's situational moments or maybe he plays half the game as a DB. Look for either T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, and it's probably going to be T. Higgins to have the better game if Travis Hunter is on Jamar Chase. But I'm taking the Bengals to win this one.
Yeah, and actually that was why I took Jacksonville, because you were asking about the pass rush. The Jaguars pressured Bryce Young on 40% of his dropbacks, which was the 9th best rate in the NFL for week 1. And it was Josh Allen Hines who tallied 8 pressures, which was 3rd for week 1, and Trayvon Walker added 4. So like you got that pass rush going against the worst, offensive line. And then on the other side, you got Jacksonville with a ton of time with a really it's just one game.
Yeah.
It's just one game. But I think if you really are in a toss up, I look at the trenches and I go, what does that look like? Because if you can dominate the trenches, that team usually wins the game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is a good don't touch it probably for me as well, but should be a fun one. We should at least gather really good data on both of these teams after this game.
I feel like offense is going to go off in terms of yardage. It's just the points I don't think will be there.
Yeah, I could see this being an under as well. Next up, we got the Rams and the Titans. All right, I'm gonna say something crazy. Cam Ward's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Cam Ward's gonna be really good. Now, -2 net yards in the second half. Hardly had anything to do with Cam Ward.
Yeah.
First off, you had Patrick Surtain on Calvin Ridley for 84% of Calvin Ridley's snaps. He didn't allow a single catch. That is a unique. That is very unique to Surtain. Like, he won't be going against a Surtain every week.
Yeah.
So the defense in Denver as a whole is, I mean, they're the number 1 ranked defense right now after week 1, because they only allowed like 130 total net yards or something insane.
Yeah.
So that Cam Ward's first task going into altitude on the road against that defense with his number 1 being guarded by Surtain, like, what did you think was going to happen? I mean, he didn't get a single touchdown, which I was like, I don't see how they're going to score a touchdown in this game. They did get field goals.
Yep.
And Cam Ward looked amazing. Like, he looks really good. Like, one thing, he puts a lot of zip. Sometimes he's like, he reminds me of Favre, where he's like, boom, giving it all you got. It's like the guy's 5 yards in front of you. You don't have to throw it to him. Like, And
he does it so effortlessly. Looking at the highlights, it looked like he's just kind of lobbing it. No, that thing has a lot of speed.
His zip, he's got a lot of speed, but his release is so good. And a lot of times with young quarterbacks, you get one or two things. You get a quarterback that he has predetermined where he's going with the football. Mm-hmm. So he snaps the ball and he like half-ass looks, and then he just goes to where he wants to go. He does like going through the motions type of a look off, but he didn't really mean it. He was always going to this guy. Or you get somebody that just doesn't even do the look off. He doesn't even pretend. He was genuinely going through his progressions. That's the other type of quarterback who does go through his progressions, but it takes a very long time. Yeah. He was in the middle where, like, I saw Cam Ward going through his progressions very quickly, understanding that this pass rush is dominant and he's got about 3 seconds, but that didn't stop him from taking genuine looks at his number 2, his number 3, and then his number 1 not there, and then bailing out and buying time. He was keeping plays alive. It's just like it's one of those things where you look and watch and you're like, yeah, it's going to work. Like, he belongs in this league. I expect him to have a breakout game against the Rams. Like, this is a defense. And I was telling everyone, this was the best passing defense in the NFL last year. Mm-hmm. They only allowed 177 passing yards per game. Yeah. So I thought just the defense in general for the Titans, they generated a ton of pressure on Bo Nix, and that's a good offensive line. So I think their defense is going to be really good, and I think Cam Ward is going against a way more favorable defense in the Rams. Still, they got to deal with Jared Verse and Brendan Fisk, but I don't know. Like, look, the Rams are -5.5 right now. I'm taking the Titans +5.5, and I'm running out of the room with my ticket.
Yeah, this one is going to be another defensive struggle, I think, too, because we saw what the Rams and the Texans were last week as well. I think it was like a 14-9 game at the end of it, and that was two very good defenses going up against each other. And credit to Tennessee, the defense, right? They were just very good. And you mentioned the passing defense and the pressure that they were able to execute on Bo Nix. And, the offensive line for the Broncos is very good. And they were still able to create turnovers, get pressure. So a lot of credit to Tennessee's defense for being able to do that. I think it's going to kind of be the same thing this game. Let me look at the over under here, because I think regardless of what it is, I'm going with the under. I think both of these defenses are very good. 41.5.
Wow. So,
I mean, that's the over is 22 points. Yeah. Like 20-17. And I think, again, that's what it's going to be, because what you mentioned with the receivers for Cam Ward looked spectacular in his rookie debut. His receivers did him zero favors in that game against Denver, but credit to Denver's defense as well. Surtain, Riley Moss getting pressure. Nick Bonito was putting the pressure on Cam Ward all freaking day. So Cam Ward's going to have the same type of pressure. You mentioned the defense for the Rams, but it looked natural to him being a quarterback. It's something that Jaden Daniels looked like last year, where he kept cool, he kept calm. Cam Ward was staying in the pockets. He talked about him going through his progressions. I liked what I saw from Cam Ward. I watched some highlights. I watched people talk about it. They liked what they saw from Cam Ward as well. And even though they are at home, I got to stick with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and why can't I think of his name? Matt Stafford. Yes, thank you. Matthew Stafford in this offense, because I think at the end of the day, the offense and the defense on the Rams side is so much better. The Titans are unfortunately going to start 0-2. But this 0-2 start is a little bit more promising than last year with Will Levis, when they just looked like crap. So
yeah,
I think Tennessee and Callahan and this organization have found their quarterback in Cam Ward. And, barring anything like ridiculous happening to his arm, I think they're in good hands. I just think that the Rams are going to be a little bit better. And yeah, this might be a 20-17 game. This might be a 17-14 game. I'm going to take the under because of these defenses, and I'm taking the Rams to take one in Tennessee.
Yeah, the Rams offense is still a work in progress, so I can see why you're doing that. And plus,
and Puka was bleeding out of his eye last week and still did well.
Yeah, he had I think it was his 5th 100-yard receiving game or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he's only been in the league. But like every year there's a team that is 0-2, and it's like, it's unfortunate because they're not an 0-2 team. Remember the Ravens were 0-2 last year,
Yes.
I think. Yep. The Detroit Lions is what this reminds me of. The year they went 0-8, and every week they lost like a nail biting, like Justin Tucker broke the record.
67-yard field goal.
It was like, and then you had Dan Campbell crying because of how hard his team was fighting.
Yep.
Like Tennessee showed a lot of grit in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their defense kept them hanging around in a game that Denver refused to pull away from.
Yep.
And I look at this and I go, man, at the very minimum, Tennessee is going to make this a nail biter. They're going to hang around. Mm-hmm. And this could be one of those cases where Tennessee's 0-2, and, it's disappointing because they are playing really good football.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're going to have a new story about Tennessee after this week, about what they are. Because what I saw from Cam Ward last week was like, I mean, I knew in the first couple of drives,
mm-hmm.
like I knew pretty quick. Like I was like, I know what my defense makes other quarterbacks look like. Yep. And this guy does not look like he's making his first start. Like, this could be a playoff team this year, or it could be a team that has the potential to be a playoff team, but they're still 1 year away. So I think this game will kind of tell us which group they're going to fall in this year.
Yeah. And regardless of the outcome, unless it's a complete blowout, I think NFL is buying stock in the Titans right now.
Absolutely. And if you're a Titans fan, you can go buy a Cam Ward jersey. Like, I will haze myself if I'm wrong about this, but I'm not. I'm just
haze yourself.
I'm not wrong about it. It's like, you just know when you see a good quarterback.
Pass the eye test.
And that's exactly what you had. JJ McCarthy, as well as he played, he didn't make any plays like that looked as good as Cam Ward did.
Yeah, Cam Ward looked good.
I mean, we'll get to that, but we got next up another division matchup. New England let one slip away last week due to some shaky coaching decisions and Mike Vrabel's debut as the Patriots head coach, but I think they'll bounce back here.
Mm-hmm.
Miami looks like a mess right now. You got the Tyreek Hill drama. He was not voted a captain this year. That's his first time since being a Dolphin that he was not voted a captain. Things are getting really weird in Miami. Yeah. And now there's just zero consistency on either side of the ball. Tua, he was pressured on, it was like only 6 throws. But on the other throws that he wasn't pressured, he threw the ball at an average of 2.5 seconds. So that's why he wasn't pressured on paper, because he got rid of the ball immediately, right? These are dink and dunk, boom. Oh, he wasn't pressured. The offensive line The numbers won't show it analytically, but
Mhm.
they are a problem. And it's not allowing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to get into the second and the third level. And the only bright spot is really Devon Achane. Like he had a really great game.
Yeah.
He broke like 3 tackles on his touchdown. He's gonna continue to be good, but overall, like the Patriots, I feel like they didn't have their best game, and it was disappointing. I mean, when you saw the Patriots last week, I didn't see their playmakers downfield getting separation.
Mhm.
Their wide receivers did not do a good job getting themselves open, and the Patriots weren't running the ball very effectively as well. So I don't know. I'm not like feeling really strongly about one of these teams right now. I would say I'm very equal on both of them,
Mhm.
but I like Drake May more than Tua, even though Tua is like a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Mhm.
I think Drake May has what it takes to be special. And the Dolphins, it really just comes down to this. The Dolphins are going the wrong way, and the Patriots are
Yeah.
building towards something, which is
Mhm.
the right way. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go with the team that's headed in the right direction.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those divisional matchups where, again, we always say this. This is just divisional matchups are tough, but this is like a disgusting. Like, I don't even know if I want to watch this game on Red Zone. That's how much I don't want to watch this game, because both of these teams completely underwhelmed last week. I mean, the Patriots, yeah, Drake may throw the ball. What was it? 45, 46 times.
46 times.
And come up with only 13 points. Whereas the Dolphins, Tua looked like shit the entire game, only scored 8, and that was like in garbage time. It seemed like against who was it? The Colts, Ginger's Colts. So both of these offenses are kind of just like, ugh, what's going on here? And this is that Drake May had a pretty good, decent passing yards game, 287 with a touchdown and an interception. But this was a Raiders defense that, while Drake May hasn't played that many games as a starting quarterback, he played almost like half the season last year. And then coming into this, you got a lot of expectations. You bring in Vrabel as the head coach, and it just didn't deliver in that first game against Vegas. And Tua, again, that whole team is just bad vibes. So both of these teams are limping into this week too, and just hoping that I feel like there's like some sort of miracle play that they're hoping for in this game. I unfortunately got to go with Miami just because of the veterans on that team, but this is going to be another close game. I mean, it's going to be another like 20-13 game that the Raiders and the Patriots played last week. I just question if Miami can begin to put points on the board with Tua playing the way he's played so far in week 1. And again, we're only going off week 1. That's all we got so far. Tyreek not being a captain and already complaining on the sidelines. Devon Achane maybe is going to break a few more tackles and really get that big play that he was known for his rookie year. But Drake May and the Patriots, they're going to come into a very hostile environment into Miami, and I just don't know if they can come out with a win. His leading receiver was, I think, Butte with for the Patriots, and Travion Henderson, awesome. Like, he looked decent in his debut with the Patriots, but they couldn't run the ball at all. We'll see if they can do that against the Dolphins, but I think it's going to be a Butte and a Drake May show again. I can see Drake May throwing the ball 40 plus times again. It's just a matter of, can they get into the end zone off those 40 passes? I got to take the home team in this kind of disgusting game just based off week 1. So I'm going to go Dolphins to take the dub here.
Yeah, and I had it written down somewhere. I can't find it, but Drake May is like, I think here it is. He's 3-10 as an NFL starter.
Oh, okay.
Bad.
Yeah. Bad.
For a guy that we all believe in, just because we've seen the Patriots are a team that's just still trying to put it all together. New England hasn't won a non-divisional home game since 2022.
And Crafty is correct. Tua is undefeated against the Patriots, 7-0.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And it says 5 straight home opener loss. They've lost 5 straight home opener. They did beat the Bengals, but I guess that was in Cincinnati last year. So
is this the Patriots?
The Patriots.
Oh, okay.
So it's the Patriots just haven't been able to start fast. And yeah, we'll see what the Dolphins can do. The last thing I'll say about this game is that I think Mike McDaniel's it'll be a miracle if he makes it to Thanksgiving if he loses this game.
Yeah, because if the Dolphins start off 0-2 and it looks bad like it did against
anything like it did last week.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like his seat is the hottest probably with Tua, with Tyreek, with Waddle, with Devon Achane. What are we doing here? Yeah, hottest seat in the NFL if he loses this week.
Yeah. So, and week 1's, it's like, are the Colts really good? Well, we don't think the Colts are that good, but I mean, that means right now we have the Dolphins being really bad. But it's funny because maybe the Colts are pretty good and we aren't valuing their weapons correctly. And maybe the Patriots, because I had the Patriots winning maybe 10 games this year. And I had them as like one of the surprise teams in the NFL. And maybe this week it all clicks and the Dolphins for 2 weeks in a row just get like exposed, but everyone else thinks they're getting exposed by bad teams. But maybe these teams aren't that bad and it costs a head coach his job. Ultimately, you have to be able to compete no matter who you play. Yep. And the Dolphins showed last week that they couldn't compete. And that's what the main thing, like if you're the front office, the GM for the Dolphins, you're like, does my team look like they're competing? If my quarterback throws an interception like McCarthy did, is my offensive tackle, my guards and McCarthy, are they running full speed trying to tackle, that bear before he returns at 76 yards, or did they give up on the play?
Yeah.
Like that's what you're looking for in the Dolphins is like, do they have any fight or are they just going through the motions? Miami's a really tough city to keep the players invested, especially if you start losing games. It's like, they're like, okay, well, I'll just, if you're winning, it's hard enough to keep them invested, let alone if you're losing.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking to see what kind of effort does this team show. And is Tyreek Hill just going to become more and more of a problem until he's traded? And if he is traded, I think he might go to New England. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, we got Bills Giants going against the Dallas Cowboys. And I felt like the Dallas Cowboys played a damn good football game.
Yeah.
When you watch the Cowboys game, like one thing was for sure, and that's that we undervalue Dak Prescott. And I blame myself a little bit because as much as I say this, I never picked the Cowboys to win these games like I didn't in this game, but I did pick them to play a close game, and that's what they did. The story of this game, and these are my notes, like as I was watching the game, which is the upside of not streaming it, is that I can get really good data on it. The story of this game was always going to be that neither team could effectively get after the quarterback. Part of that was because Jalen Carter spit in Dak Prescott's face, which I feel like is almost symbolic of how we viewed Dak Prescott going into this year. And the other,
and I'll do it again.
Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
Yeah.
So I think both teams are. Jalen Carter had the 1 game suspension, but the NFL considered week 1 his 1 game suspension because he missed the whole game. So even though he got suspended a game, he's going to play week 2, which is relevant right now. But just it applied to that game. So Dak Prescott, he's 33-8 in the division all time.
Wow.
So that's
really
what
I
guess that's really what I'm trying to say when it comes to Dak Prescott and these Cowboys is like, look, just 20 months ago, Dak Prescott was second in the MVP race. He threw for 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. That was only 20 months ago. Add in a pair of rushing touchdowns. And just like 2023, when he had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, now they have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And I think George Pickens looked really good in this first game. And we know Dak Prescott wins a high percentage of his games that he starts in. He's 76-46 as a starter all time. And I think that this guy, I mean, being voted 76 in the top 100, what other quarterback finished second in MVP in the last 5 years that barely made the top 100? Like, we only do this because of his playoff performances, but we don't punish Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen.
Even Josh Allen,
but because he's a Cowboy, there's just so much extra scrutiny that comes with it because he's guilty by association with everything Jerry Jones and the dysfunction. It's not fair to Dak Prescott. And when I watched him play in this game, I thought this Cowboys team's going to be hard. They're going to be hard. They should win double-digit games. I'll say that. The other thing is, like, the Eagles have a cornerback number 2 issue, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But when it comes to the Giants, their defensive front, they might be like maybe the best in the NFL on the D line. But even with that great defense, the fact that Russell Wilson has the keys, this is like a no-brainer to me because Russell Wilson, he posted mentally tough on his Instagram or Twitter. That's important, I guess, to be unlimited and have, to be mentally tough. But it's Jackson Dart. It's his turn, right? And I think we're going to see Jackson Dart start in the third quarter.
Oh, I love that prediction.
Cowboys winning this game by like maybe 17 points.
I love that prediction. I love the Jackson Dart prediction. And I think after week 1, you saw Mr. Unlimited be completely limited by his arm strength, by what he can and can't do, his mobility. We've known his mobility has been extremely limited. I mean, him and like Aaron Rodgers right now in terms of mobility are on the same level. And I think Aaron Rodgers has him beat by like 6 years, 5 years older than him, whatever it may be. I'm not too sure. This is an easy one for me. I mean, I'll tell you right away, I'm taking the Cowboys. The game that they played against the Eagles, although Jalen Carterless, was really good. It was a really good loss at the end of the game there when they were getting close. CeeDee Lamb did miss a pass from Dak. George Pickens, we'll see what he can do the rest of the year. It just seemed like I did see some times where he was like walking his routes and it's like, oh, that's George Pickens. He doesn't give a shit because the ball's not going to him or he's not trying. Right. So I think if that continues, it is going to be rough to watch the offense where it's just CeeDee Lamb again. Javonte Williams looked good as a runner. Again, Jalen Carterless Eagles. But that defensive line still is good for the Eagles. Now switching over to the Giants, they're going to have a tough time running the ball. I don't think Javonte Williams is going to have the 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, whatever it is he had against the Eagles. I think he had less than 100 yards, but I don't think he's going to have the success. So I think a lot of this is going to be dependent on Dak's arm, getting it to CD, getting it to George Pickens, getting it to his tight end. I forget his name at the moment. And the defense for the Cowboys, I don't think should have an issue against Russ and the Giants. Tyrone Tracy, from what we saw, him running the ball last season with the Giants, it looked good. He had kind of a tough time against the Commanders last week for the Giants. Again, Russ, I don't really see him going off. If Jackson Dart does come into this game, it will be third quarter, I think. But we've also seen, and I've also made these predictions, I think it was last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they were in the playoff game, the divisional game, I said Justin Fields is starting the second quarter. And then what happened? Russ made this like awesome throw that kind of kept them in through the game. And Tomlin's like, yeah, we can do that. But I think Dable eventually is going to just get tired of Wilson's limited ability as a quarterback. No one's going to pick up Russ after this year. I think Russ is going to go off into the sunset after this year.
Or the storm.
Storm.
John Elway went off in the sunset. Peyton Manning went off in the sunset. This is definitely not a sunset.
This is not a sunset.
No, what it is, because it is night.
I hate you. But Russ is just going to have a tough time.
That's what it is. The sunset already. It's set. He was supposed to go off into the sunset.
It's getting close to dawn at this point.
It's pitch black. Let's be real. Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers' darkness.
Hey, Russ, it's okay. At the end of the day, you're going home with Sierra. You're fine.
You won 100 games faster than any quarterback in the history of the sport.
And you got a Super Bowl.
You're fine.
You're
Legion
good.
of Boom. You'll live forever.
Legion of Boom.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, real quick, I'll do this last little thing. The Cowboys are solving their Micah Parsons issue, Kyle. They are looking at Jadeveon Clowney, the guy who hasn't been able to get pressure on a quarterback for the last 3-4 years of his career. They're solving it.
Made the right choice, letting Micah Parsons go, and I will continue to die in this hill. They are not where Green Bay's at, where it's like we can add one piece and go to the Super Bowl.
But Dak is such a good quarterback. I don't think that they have the defense as a whole, maybe, but I feel like their secondary with Micah Parsons would have been good. I still think it would have been better. It would have been better. Yeah, for sure.
Better. But I mean, you now are going to have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years on your team. Whether it's true, I mean, and you got to think. We keep thinking these players, they don't come around very often. Every year they come around. Every year.
You got to hit on them, though. That's the important part.
Which you can do when you have 4 first rounders, and
Chance
plus,
to go higher.
TJ Watt went 30. Mm-hmm. You had Myles Garrett, you had Nick Bosa, you had who's the guy out of Penn State?
Abdul Carter.
He looked good. Last year you had 3 years ago, Aiden Hutchinson. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, $147 million for one player is way too much money when you've ran the experiment for the last 3 years and you're a divisional round team with him and Dak Prescott playing great football. Now, I like that they have all this money now that is available that they wouldn't have, and all these extra picks. And I think even the one player that they brought in, a part of the deal from Green Bay, was
Kenny Clark.
Yeah, to help stop the run. He looked good in this game. So
he's a run stopper too. Yeah, they got value.
I think overall, like, sometimes it's addition by subtraction. Like, did the Bills get better when Diggs left? Yeah. And was Micah becoming a distraction to the Cowboys? Absolutely. And I think for everybody, they won, and I know that there always has to be a winner and loser in the media, but this is truly, like, in my opinion, I think both teams made a great move in this one. So I'm with you. I got the Cowboys winning this game. I came into that last game like, okay, show me something. And they did. Yeah, and then the Giants, they didn't generate a single sack last week, as good as their,
defensive line is.
Yeah. Like, how do you not generate a single sack? So
that's sad.
In the Cowboys offensive line, look, they faced a ton of criticism going into this year. They have Tyler Guyton returning from injury, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker. They have 3 Tylers on the offensive line.
Jerry Jones doesn't want to remember too many names. He's like, what's up, Tyler?
But, like, I thought this offensive line played really good last week. Yeah. And there's just a lot to love about the Cowboys right now, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, the only reason I have Russ being benched this early is because he only scored 3 points last week. So yeah, like, you can only, because of how bad that game was, he only has like a 2-quarter leash, because he showed you nothing. So that's why I think he gets benched. Like, if this game's like 17-0 at the half, Dable knows he's on the hot seat.
Mhm.
So his job's on the line,
Mhm.
and I think he pivots quick. I think he
100%
had to
agree.
start Russ because he's the veteran,
Yes.
and you got to keep him happy. But
Mhm.
the first chance he gets to justify benching him, it will happen.
100%.
Next up, we got the Seahawks and the Steelers, the DK Metcalf revenge game.
Hey.
Well, I got to say, my AFC North prediction, I'm loving it after week one. We got the Bengals, who looked all right, against
Yeah.
the Browns, who looked even worse than all right.
Mhm.
And then you had the Ravens, who gave up like 40 plus points. And then you had the Steelers, who has Aaron Rodgers now, who looks way better than he did when he tore his Achilles and came back with the Jets, because now he's in his second year. He looked like the final 4 games of last year, which we said if he can play that in this season, anything can happen. And he did. I mean, and it was funny because usually your first game with a new team, whether it's Tom Brady in the Bucs or Manning with the Broncos, like Aaron Rodgers looked better than both of those two guys did with their new teams in their first year, which tells me that this isn't like their ceiling. Like they can still get better, which is crazy for a guy that threw for 4 touchdowns and 0 picks. He did that for the 28th time in his career, tying Tom Brady, his record. So he's still breaking records or getting close to breaking records. Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old. He did look slow in the pocket, but he was able to get the ball out pretty quick. He targeted his tight ends a lot. DK Metcalf, not super involved in this game, but I think next week we may see him more involved, and especially with this being a revenge game. Nobody likes revenge as much as Aaron Rodgers, you know? Like,
and it seems like DK sometimes too.
Right. So I think DK Metcalf is going to have a big game. Yeah, I like the Steelers to continue winning football.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Aaron Rodgers. I really liked what I saw from DK. I know he didn't get too many receptions, like you said, but the ones that he did, he made the most out of the opportunities in which he caught the ball. He did drop a couple, which was very, I don't want to say very unlike DK, but DK has had some games over the years where you're like, how did you drop that, dude? What happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very, I guess what's the word? Very
uncharacteristic.
No. I want about the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers. Very like optimistic, I guess I would say.
Okay.
Is the word I'm looking for, because with Aaron Rodgers coming in again, we talked about the lack of mobility, and he showed that even against the Jets. But he still threw for 4 touchdowns. He looked like Aaron Rodgers of what you were hoping with the Jets. You know, coming out of Green Bay his final year. And credit to what you said. It takes a full 2 years to recover from an ACL, an Achilles, whatever it was that he suffered. And so far in week 1, he looks good. While it may be an overreaction after week 1, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has a career full of things to prove you wrong and be like, look what I've done. The defense for the Steelers didn't look great against the Jets and Justin Fields, but they were able to come up with stops when it mattered. And not only that, but they came up with that turnover on the kickoff, which led to the Steelers, I believe, taking the lead or tying it up or something like that, whatever it was there towards the end against the Jets. And credit to, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name, the cornerback, Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
On that big hit on Garrett Wilson to stop any sort of momentum the Jets had with that minute or so left in that game from them coming back. I said it at the very beginning. I was like, Jalen Ramsey, I don't know if this was a good move, bringing in Jalen Ramsey and getting rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick. I valued Minkah Fitzpatrick way higher than Jalen Ramsey. And so far in 1 week, Jalen Ramsey is showing that he's definitely, like, the dividends on this return are much higher than at least what I expected week 1. So he's doing his job. Aaron Rodgers is doing his job. DK is doing his job. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is Jaylen Warren, the running game here for the Steelers. Yes, they brought in Caleb Johnson from Iowa. through the draft. But Jaylen Warren, he was fast. Like those times where he was coming in last year, like he looked good. And I think me and you had said it at one point. We're like, Jaylen Warren needs to be RB1. And while it was the Jets defense, it still didn't look great. He didn't look great, but I think over time, as the season progresses, he'll be a little bit better. For the Seahawks, it was a tough game against the 49ers for them. They got down to the red zone late. They were pressured by Nick Bosa, which turned into a fumble. The 49ers recover, and that's kind of game for the Seahawks. And that was in Seattle. So going into Pittsburgh, I think is going to be tough for them. But dude, Jackson Smith-Njigba, coming into this season, I was like, he is going to have a big year. And in that game against the 49ers, 9 receptions, 124 yards. Unfortunately, couldn't come away with a touchdown. But that's just because Darnold was just not able to get his receivers the ball in the red zone, at least to get a score. I know Jalen Ramsey is going to be on JSN this entire time. Cooper Kupp didn't really look any better. I think he had, 2 receptions, 15 yards. That's not very good. But I would expect for him to have a big game if Jalen Ramsey is covering Jackson Smith-Njigba. And then Charbonnet and Walker, the running game, they had almost similar carries, 12 for Charbonnet, 10 for Walker. Charbonnet came away with a touchdown. That running game needs to be better. I don't know what the plan is with Charbonnet or Walker. Like, are you trying to make sure that Walker doesn't get injured early? Or is that why you're giving the ball to Charbonnet to kind of even it out? They got to kind of figure it out. And if this is going to work, a two-headed monster type of thing for the Seattle Seahawks in terms of the running game, then cool, go with that. But you paid Darnold $100 million. Let's get more than 23 attempts, I think. And especially when JSN is having so far a very good week 1, a very good season in what is expected out to be a very, very big year for him. I cannot go with the Seahawks in this game to win it. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to take the dub at home after coming away with a win in New Jersey. I think they're going to take the dub here. But I think this is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people expect. I might call this a 24-21 Steelers win.
21-20?
24-21.
Okay.
Yeah, by a field goal.
Still pretty close. Yeah. And if Aaron Rodgers can do that, I think, especially if DK has a big game, people are going to probably catapult the Steelers into the top 7, top 6, 100%. I mean, because Aaron had that big game, but it's like, is that a revenge Jets thing? Or is he going to be able to do this consistently? And
exactly.
The other thing is, like, the Steelers defense, did they look kind of bad, or is the Jets offense really good? Did Justin Fields take a major step? Because we heard all offseason out of their camp that Justin Fields was looking incredible. And we were all like, yeah, that's coach pumping his tires,
Yeah.
But maybe he was just telling us the truth, and we are going to find out pretty soon how good that offense is. So,
yep.
All right. Speaking of, we got the 49ers and the Saints, and I got something for you. You're gonna be like, wow, really? I think
building the anticipation. I love it.
I think this is the year that Trent Williams is human.
Oh, okay.
Trent Williams finally is not the greatest. This is my overreaction Monday. All right. Trent Williams is not the greatest tackle in the NFL anymore. He's not even top 15.
Oh,
that's what I would name the article if I wrote it. Right. I'll just say he had a 55.3 PFF grade.
Oh, yeah,
week 1. He allowed 6 pressures. This is a guy that went entire season allowing 2. He allowed 6 pressures, 1 hit, 5 hurries. Which, by the way, Mike McDonald and the Seahawks, he's a defensive coach, so I'm not shocked by this. But a little bit, I'm still Trent Williams should be in the 80s or high 70s, being down here in the 50s. It was also the most pressures the left tackle has allowed since joining the 49ers in a game. So,
wow,
is Trent Williams like? I mean, dude's
Decline?
getting like, I think he's like 36 years old now.
Yeah, he's up
So,
there.
and we saw the center or the right guard had a 51.2 grade. The right tackle had a 67.7. Colton McKivitz, who signed a 3-year, $45 million extension. He celebrated with the highest pass blocking grade on the team, but it was only 67.7. So, I mean, you had Christian McCaffrey, who had to really grind out his 69 total rushing yards. He had 22 carries, resulting in a 53 PFF grade on the ground. He caught 9 of his 10 targets to bring up, his fantasy numbers, but he also missed a block that allowed the Seahawks their only sack on Purdy in the game. Overall, I loved what I saw from Ricky Pearsall. I made a trade. I traded Jordan Love and Mike Evans for Lamar Jackson because I drafted Ricky Pearsall, and I said, I think this is a guy that can start this year every week. And week 1's kind of scary because you're like, how much are we going to really see Ricky Pearsall? Yep. Dude, he caught 4 of 7 targets for 108 yards.
That's big numbers.
That's big numbers.
Yeah.
He's caught 18 of 23 targets and 318 yards in his last 3 games with 2 touchdowns. So one more time for the folks at home. In Ricky Pearsall's last 3 games, he's caught 18 of 23 targets, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games.
Wow.
So we are seeing the old players from the 49ers start to show that they're human, the CMCs, the Trent Williams, but we're seeing the Ricky Pearsalls kind of take that next step. The Jake Tungus, the second highest graded guy on the offense behind only Kittle. And with Kittle going, and dealing with his injury, hamstring, you got Brock Purdy, who's going to be out. I'm seeing he's going to be out 2 to 5 weeks now.
Yeah, that's what Crafty's saying too. Yeah,
with turf toe. So now we're gonna see who the hell is their backup?
Mac Jones, baby.
Mac Jones. Which somehow feels like Brock Purdy. Like, I don't feel like it's that crazy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we have to like throw away everything for the next 6 weeks. Like I still think we can like look at the 49ers somewhat the same. And that's crazy, right? To pay a quarterback $160 million, and when he goes out, you're like looking at the team very similar. Like, if Mahomes went out, you would be like, they're doomed, right?
Yeah, and I mean, what Kyle Shanahan did with Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, I think he'll be able to be at least half that with Mac Jones. I
think like 75% that is what I'm thinking.
It's very possible that this could be it, because what has been the complaint about Brock Purdy over the years, right? He shouldn't be an MVP. He's a system quarterback. He doesn't throw it deep. He's not like that, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. This is a perfect system for Mac Jones to be a backup in. And we saw Sam Darnold spend the year in San Francisco, spend the year in Minnesota, and now look at him, $100 million quarterback in Seattle. Maybe this is what Mac Jones is needed, right? Like, he needs that offensive guy who can somewhat be a quarterback whisperer, I guess we'll use that term, even though it's one of the worst terms I think out there. But
they whisper.
He whispers. He's just right behind them, right behind. Hey, Mac Jones, come on, baby.
Like a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield moment.
Baker Mayfield, yeah. He's like, come on, Mackie, you can do this, baby boy. You got this.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the highest completion percentage in the history of college football. Mac
Jones? Wow. Like, and we saw his rookie year what he could do.
This guy's serviceable.
Yeah, exactly.
You take these quarterbacks and you put them on the same teams where they all don't work. And then you go, this guy's, done. And it's like, yeah, send his ass to Shanahan and we'll know for sure. And I'm not so sure that it's not the organization that's rooting these quarterbacks.
Exactly.
I think Mac Jones is going to have a good. I thought Nick Bosa had an incredible game. Somebody that had a down year, in my opinion, last year. He was not like in the defensive player of the year, which we're used to seeing him.
Yeah.
Probably the weirdest thing I could tell you stat wise is that Kyle Hamilton is the same age as Nick Bosa.
Oh, wow.
I bet, and I know it feels like Nick
Like-
Bosa's been in the league 5 years more than Kyle Hamilton.
I was gonna say, yeah.
But they came in the same draft class, and Nick Bosa's still a young guy. He's 30 years old, and he's in the prime of his life. So it is not like I had to remind myself after last year, like he's not like some vet that's like going the other way now. He just, he was dealing with injuries, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the NFL at his position, top 3. So Nick Bosa had a game last week that I'm like, he's going to destroy Spencer Rattler in this game. And that's why I'm taking the 49ers. I just think they don't need to do that much to beat the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
George Kittle is on IR. Brock Purdy, he's going to be out for a couple of games. Brandon Ayuk, Demarcus Robinson, like they have a lot of issues right now offensively, but that's why you paid Nick Bosa like $140 million is to go win you these type of games when your offense, needs you to steal a couple possessions. I think he comes up with a strip sack. I think the Niners get a defensive touchdown, and I think they win a gritty 16-10 type of a game.
I like that. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game as well, unless Ricky Pearsall goes off. He had his longest catch was 45 yards, which is about half of what he got. But the other 3 catches he got, he made moves. He got some yak. So even with Mac Jones, not necessarily.
Rick, I think that 40-yard touchdown was on like the final drive where they needed that game-winning drive.
Oh, nice.
And the 49ers, Jake Moody cut.
Gone. Yep.
And they brought in your boy, Eddie Pinheiro.
Oh, yeah. He used to be the Panthers kicker.
Oh, Panthers. Did he kick for the Bears?
No, he did. But last 2-3 seasons, he's been with the Panthers. So, yeah, he used to be a Bear for sure.
But, yeah, that was a big 45-yard catch.
Yeah, and then Jake Moody, I think this is a quote I saw. One of my buddies at work showed it to me. He's like, I wish we would have lost against Seattle, knowing that he was going to get cut after that if he knew that.
Right.
This is kind of a win-win for the 49ers because it sucks that Purdy's gone, but the matchup against the Saints is very favorable, even if they're in New Orleans. Again, the Mac Jones thing, yeah, we'll see how that goes, but you love the coach with Kyle Shanahan. We've talked about Kevin O'Connell. We've talked about Sean McVay, how you love those coaches, even LaFleur, right? Like you love those coaches with somewhat unproven quarterbacks because you know that they can get the most out of them and not really give them too much to handle, which I think is what Kyle Shanahan's going to do with Mac Jones. He's not going to try to make him be Superman. He's not going to try to make him be Purdy with it. He's just going to be like, dude, let's get some passes, get it to your playmakers, let them do their thing. And regardless of what CMC status is, or like if he's going to be having a down year, whatever it may be, I think they're going to rely a lot on the running game. They might even have who's their backup? Is it Guarendo or Brian Robinson Jr. actually kind of get some touches as well. And then Rick Pearsall, again, get it to him, get it to Tongas. If your other playmakers at wide receiver and tight end aren't there with George Kittle and Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk. And the defense, again, I think is going to dominate. The Saints, on the other hand, it's going to suck because they're going to start off 0-2. If it's not Rattler, it's Tyler Shough. And Tyler Shough is going to be a rookie quarterback going up against a very scary defense that still is a scary defense with the 49ers. Alvin Kamara may be the only offensive weapon on the Saints that has a good day. I think Spencer Rattler last week threw the ball over 40 times as well, and that just it looked bad. So Kellen Moore is going to have a tough week 2 even at home. I'm taking the 49ers to win this, man. I trust Kyle Shanahan more than Kellen Moore at this point. I trust Mac Jones in the hands of Kyle Shanahan way more than I trust Spencer Rattler in any game. You could put at 5 years down the road, I'll still trust Mac Jones probably more than Spencer Rattler. But I think this is going to be somewhat of a low scoring game because the 49ers aren't going to have to do too much. I think the defense is going to have a big day against the Saints. taking 49ers to win.
Yeah, can't blame you.
Mhm.
This is going to be my official don't touch it of the week coming up. The Panthers and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I don't have enough information on these teams. The Cardinals,
That's very fair.
right? Like their rushing attack was good against the Saints defense last week, but the Saints defense is they were abysmal. I think the Panthers too. I think I wrote it down that they're the first team. They've allowed like an insane amount of rushing yards, more than any other team in the last
Wow.
2 years.
Wow.
So they're like a historically bad rushing defense right now, is what I'm trying to say. And the Cardinals, they ran the ball a lot last week because
Yeah.
I mean they ran it 27 times and averaged 5.4 yards per carry. And then Kyler Murray was efficient. He threw for 2 scores, but he ends up getting sacked 5 times, and he's not somebody that gets sacked a ton. So the offensive line's not really good. The Saints offensive line graded out as the worst in football coming into the year, and they still held Arizona from getting a single sack last week.
Wow.
So I just like I both teams have these weaknesses that I don't think the other team can even exploit. So it's hard to see like what angle to take on this game. The
Mhm.
Panthers had a rough first game. They had some decent success throwing the football that they can kind of hang their hat on, but overall it was not the type of game that we were expecting out of the Panthers, or at least I was, after how good Bryce Young looked in the last 4 games. Like they're missing some players. So
Mhm.
they're really putting a lot on the rookie T-Mac right now.
Yeah.
But overall, this is going to be a pass for me. I don't. If you're making me pick, I'll take the Cardinals. I don't want to take the Cardinals.
Yeah, none of these teams like are gonna win this game convincingly, regardless of who wins. And I'm taking the home team Cardinals as well, because this is also like one of my 3 games already that I'm like, don't even listen to this game on a radio or anything. Like this is gonna be kind of a bad game. What I will say is that weather delay, I feel like it didn't help Carolina at all, and I don't think anything could have helped Carolina against the Jaguars last week. Like you said, they put a lot on Ted McMillan. He was their leading receiver with 68 yards. Chuba Hubbard, their running back, was second. Like, where's Xavier Legette right now? He had 10 yards on 3 receptions. You know, you were hoping going into this year, if you're a Panthers fan, that Xavier Legette, Ted McMillan, you'd kind of have that 1 and 2 almost set. Although Xavier Legette didn't necessarily impress last year as a rookie wide receiver, you were hoping that with the evolution of Bryce Young, you're like, oh, he's going to come in and he's going to be slinging it. That just was not the case with Canales and the Panthers last week. It just like Bryce Young was their second leading rusher too, behind Chuba Hubbard. This offense right now looks very stale, and it has only been 1 week, but it looked very stale against the Jaguars. With the Cardinals too, Trey Benson looked pretty damn good. He had almost 70 yards rushing. He looked pretty damn good. He had more rushing yards than James Conner, and James Conner had more touches.
He was my favorite running back 2 years ago.
And look at him now, right? Like, we know James Conner runs hard and he runs over people, and yet Trey Benson is getting the most yards, not as many touches, but I think that's going to be changing here soon if James Conner can't come up with the yards like he used to. Kyler Murray, the fact that he got sacked 5 times, a guy who has known mobility and unable to escape that, you don't like to see that. But again, both of these offenses look bleh. Both of these defenses look eh. And that's that the Cardinals actually improved their defense from last season. Yeah, they bring in a couple guys that are a little bit on the older side, but improvements nonetheless. I'm taking the Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 10-7 game, a 13-7 game.
Or a 41-40 game.
Or, yeah, this is going to
nothing in the middle.
Yeah, this is going to be somehow like a 17 total points game, or like an 80-point game, like you're saying,
Yeah.
the spread. So I'm taking the Cardinals to win this one. But unless it is Jets Steelers of week 1, none of these teams are going to be looking any better than they did last week.
Next up, we got the Broncos, and I'm hesitant with this because
let's ride.
We got a lot of weird football week 1, and leading the pack in the weirdness was the Colts blowing out the Miami Dolphins, who not even the most skilled in the world had that. I think looking at the Colts first, like they just really needed a point guard in this offense. I think Steichen believes that he has a lot of weapons on this offense. And he's like, I just need somebody who can distribute the football, that can stay in the pocket and execute the plays. And Anthony Richardson, as much draft value as they use to get him, like the only reason he wouldn't be starting after only, starting less than half of not even like a full first season, because he got hurt. And then last year he didn't have a good year, but it's like still kind of early to move off of a 3rd overall pick. The only reason they would do that is if they're like, he really just doesn't have what it takes to be the guy that distributes the ball and runs my offense. If you're giving Shane Steichen, the playbook, and you're ripping out 75% of the pages to make it work, and now his job's on the line, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, this reminds me of the Russ situation where he's like, look, if I'm going to have my job on the line, I need my playbook back, and I need a different quarterback. And I don't need a great quarterback. I just need someone that can run my plays and let my plays actually take effect. And we saw Tyler Warren immediately come out. And on the first drive, he was targeted multiple times. Ollie Cox looks really good. Michael Pittman has been kind of like
back
lower version of Terry McLaurin. Just like an underappreciated, consistent receiver. Jonathan Taylor, a top 5 running back. Like, so you're seeing this offense does have a lot of weapons. And Daniel Jones, he's like, the 8th quarterback to have 250 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in his opening game, or some crazy, And I think overall, Daniel Jones, the 5th quarterback with 250 plus passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in season opener. Pittman had 6 catches for 80 yards. They gave him a really great offensive line in Indianapolis. So Daniel Jones actually can stay in the pocket and not have to bail. They spent a lot of draft picks on that offensive line. I think they found their point guard in Daniel Jones. And I think Tyler Warren showed that he's going to be close to 100 yards receiving constantly. This is a tough team all of a sudden. And I'm taking Denver because I think Denver's the better team. They're 2.5-point favorites, and a lot of the line is just the unknown. Like Denver, we expected more last week. Like I said, I haven't been this disappointed in a win in 10 years because of how much more I expect out of the offense. Now, with that said, Tennessee's defense is better than the Colts defense. But I think Tennessee's offense, when it's all said and done, I think Cam Ward is going to be he's better than Daniel Jones in my opinion. And I think Tennessee will even have the better offense potentially, depending on how fast he advances. So it's hard to gauge, like, did Denver shut down a really good offense last week, or is it a bad offense with the rookie quarterback? And we just don't know yet. So this game's a wild card. A lot of people are taking the Colts plus 2.5. And if they get the win outright at home, then it's a big surprise win. because Bo Nix didn't look his best last week, but he threw for the average amount that Tennessee gives up. And there was a couple drops. One of the interceptions were just ripped out of Sutton's hand. So like, people are going to overreact to that, but this is going to be a great measuring stick for both teams. This is one of the, if I had to pick like 4 games that will tell us the most about teams, this is one of them. This will tell me a lot about the Colts, and it'll tell me a lot about Denver. And if this game's really close, I don't know if it's going to reveal that much about either. We're probably going to feel like, okay, so what is it? Are they both really good?
Yeah.
You know, like, or are they both bad right now or a little above average? Like, it's tough. I'm hoping Denver wins this game by multiple possessions and just kind of separates themselves from the Colts and shows that last week was kind of, the Dolphins are just bad and Denver's dominant because their defense, best in the league. So it's going to be tough for the Colts offense to hang. It's going to be, can their defense keep Denver from scoring like Tennessee did? I'm not sure they can.
Yeah, and Ginger's calling a score 25-24 Colts on a game-winning 2-point conversion.
Oh my God.
Tyler Warren's taking it, I think, in that situation, Ginge.
Yeah, on a tight end little like shuffle pass.
Yeah, like a forward kind of thing. Yeah, I agree. There was definitely a lot more to be desired from the Denver offense last week. And, a lot of that, I think, was the turnovers. And one of them, Courtland Sutton, like you said, it kind of just got ripped away from him. Bo Nix did throw 2 interceptions, lost the fumble. I believe, was it a sack or was it a run that he lost?
It was like a blindside sack.
Oh, okay.
And
so he got stripped there. Yeah. Okay. So you hope that there's no turnovers because at the end of the day, your quarterback turning it over, that's rough. So you're hoping Bo Nix kind of improves there. The defense for Tennessee, I agree, is going to be much better than the Colts. Although the Colts showed up against Tua and the Dolphins, again, one of the most feared offenses like 2-3 seasons ago. Obviously, they're having their issues right now. But I think this is going to be a close game because I think Nick Bonito in that defense can get to Daniel Jones again the way they were getting to Cam Ward. Pressures, swatting at the ball, maybe a sack here or there. Now, I don't know if Daniel Jones is as mobile as Cam Ward, but that's not to say that Daniel Jones can't run the ball either. I mean, 2-3 seasons ago, he was running like 27 miles per hour down the sideline.
Only sacked Daniel Jones 1 time last week.
Exactly. So I think the defense for the Broncos, again, gets its job done. This, I feel like, is going to be in the 20s type of game because you mentioned all the weapons that the Colts have. Tyler Warren now being one of them at the forefront with Jonathan Taylor, with Pittman. And Daniel Jones had 4 throws to go over 20 yards. So he had 4 big-time throws. So he's still got the arm. And with Shane Steichen as offensive coordinator, he's probably going to get some more big-time throws. It's just now, can your Riley Mosses, can your Surtains, defending defensive player of the year, stop those big-time throws on your Alec Pierces, on your Pittmans? I think they can, but that's not to say that Daniel Jones and the Colts will get one here or there. I'm going to go Denver to take this one, but it is going to be close. And it is going to, I think both of these teams will show clarity into who they are. I think at the end of it, Ginger, I'm sorry, I think the Broncos come out on top. I'm going to go 27-23 Broncos. Bo Nix throws for a couple TDs. RJ Harvey rushes for 1. But again, Jonathan Taylor
up with Ginger for this.
Oh, nice. I love it. So that's going to be fun.
The boys are backing down.
The boys are backing down. So I think it's going to be a very, very, I think both of these teams are going to be good in the long run. I don't know how much longer this Daniel Jones is going to be this Daniel Jones for the Colts for this season.
Yeah, I'm just pumped, dude. I mean, it's like, how long have we known Ginger? It's like,
Christ, the entire time we've done this show. Yeah. Like 4 years now.
Like, Mary, this is my internet friend.
We're going to kiss now. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
She's so cool though. She's like, do you want to go? She's just so cool.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, let's do it. It's 3.5-hour drive.
Oh, that's not bad at all, dude. That's not bad at all.
Road too.
Yeah. Go
Let's
back
get
to
the
Indy.
hell out of here.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. Before we do, though, let's talk about the Super Bowl of last year. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Chiefs. Now, this is way more difficult than it should be because of two reasons. Number one, the Chiefs, I believe, have a major issue. I had them third in the AFC West. Right now, they're sitting at fourth.
Yeah.
They're the only team that couldn't get a win, and they were playing the Chargers, who I had at second in the AFC West. The Chargers played like they're going to finish first in the AFC West on Friday night in Brazil. They looked amazing. Justin Herbert showed what he can do when he has a little bit of time to throw the football. He really was able to push the ball downfield. I mean, and the other reason it's hard is because if it was just like the Eagles were running it back, it would be a no-brainer. Like, just give me the Eagles. I think the Chiefs have issues. I think the Eagles are going to struggle because they lost their coordinator, Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people are giving that the amount of attention because they don't value Kellen Moore as much as they should. Now, we just talked about how the Saints couldn't get much done last week, but they still played. I mean, Kellen Moore had them within a chance to win the game at the very end, where Spencer Rattler was throwing into the end zone to take the game-winning touchdown. He did that with Spencer Rattler. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Like, not any coach can do that. We saw Rattler last year start and lose games 0-32, So I think when we looked at Philly's offense on Thursday night, AJ Brown had one target, one catch.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
There's just a lot about Philly's offense. Like, yeah, Jalen Hurts did his regular 7 scrambles for 7 first downs, and the tush push picked up 4 of them, and they're able to do enough to get the win. And it was just, if you were one of those people that don't think Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, it just confirmed that opinion. And if you're one of those guys that thinks Hurts is top 4, then it also confirmed your opinion, because it was one of those games that didn't move the needle at all. And the Chiefs are coming off of a really tough loss. At least for Philly, they got the win. Their defense stalled out against Dallas, though. I'm concerned about whether their defense is going to be able to measure up to what they were last year, because they let their number 2 wide receiver go. And they were basically we're going to go with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. But they had those guys on the team last year, but they also had their number 2 who they let go. And nobody's really able to fill that spot, but the Chiefs can exploit it because Xavier Worthy's most likely out.
Yeah.
We have 2 receivers in Juju Smith and Hollywood Brown that you don't feel great about. The offense for the Chiefs, like I said 100 times, I have no idea why they thought this was going to work going into the year. The Minnesota Vikings were in the same situation when Jordan Addison got suspended, and they called Denver for Devon Vele. They called the Panthers for Adam Thielen. They were we need to add a weapon. The Chiefs were in that position too, but they didn't call anyone. They were let's run it. I don't think it's going to work. I think the Chiefs are going to end up starting 0-2, and I'm not surprised at all about the way this is going for Kansas City.
Yeah.
They refuse to address their offense now for the 3rd consecutive year. And they graded out in the top 10 in both pass protection and run blocking last week. So I think this game is going to stay close because of Mahomes. But I think it's going to be 24-23. And part of me wants to say Chiefs right now, but I'm going with the Eagle.
This is, I can see why you're battling back and forth because you are an Arrowhead. Everything you just said again, the Eagles, like AJ Brown, like Devontae Smith, did not have as much. But then you look at the offense for KC and you're like, there's zero improvement. Xavier, where are these at? I mean, Hollywood Brown, yeah, he had almost 10 yards per reception, but it just didn't seem convincing enough. This one's got to be a big game for Mahomes and Kelsey. I think these two guys need to connect a lot, need to be on the same page, and they need to get the offense moving. As well as the defense for KC. I mean, they kind of got slapped around last week by the Chargers on Friday Night Football. Was it in Brazil? The time difference didn't really make that much of an impact, in my opinion. I mean, it's Brazil. It's kind of what, Eastern time zone, maybe just a bit more than Eastern time zone. I don't know. Regardless, like it's got to be a big game from Kelsey and Mahomes. I think the two guys who have been there the longest need to make the most impact, as well as their coach Andy Reid, right? Like he needs to get a game plan that's going to be able to get those two guys to really, I guess, inspire the offense to do better than they did last week against the Chargers. And even Mahomes, I think, said like that was a bad game. If I read one of the quotes correctly, like that's a bad game. That's not who we are. So we need to be better. And again, they are at home in this game against the team who destroyed them in the Super Bowl. For the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, like you said, still a top 5 QB. Running the ball very effectively, had 2 touchdowns running the ball. Barkley did his thing, had a touchdown. Jahan Dotson, surprisingly, was the leading receiver in that game when we mentioned AJ Brown and Devontae Smith not really getting a lot in that offense. But I think that might be credit to the Dallas cornerbacks as well, kind of doing their thing and shutting those guys down. This is also going to be tough for me as long as Jalen Carter isn't spitting on Patrick Mahomes and just completely ruining the mood for that defensive line. I think the Eagles also come out with a dub here, even in Arrowhead. This is what the late game of the late slate. So this is kind of America's game, I believe, at the end of the day. I'm going to take the Eagles. Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles in this Super Bowl rematch.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Are you taking the Chiefs? Oh, Kyle, switching it up. Travis Kelce, recently engaged.
I just know they're gonna win it, and I don't like it at all.
And there needs to be another big game by the defense. Chris Jones in that defense.
It's gonna be a questionable flag at the end of the game that's gonna put them in field goal range, and they're gonna be like, I can see Mahomes celebrating, and it's like I don't know. And I'm thinking it might even be lower scoring, like a 21-20 type of game. I just don't. It's like no matter how many times I'm like closing my eyes, like Eagles win. I'm just like, I don't see it.
There's going to be something.
Do you? Yeah. It's like it didn't. It just. Do you see? You know why I can't see it is because Mahomes has never gone 0-2.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just like I don't know. It's just hard for me to envision it, and
I'm thinking the Chiefs,
the Eagles going 1-1.
I'm thinking the Chiefs are going to have that kind of lull like the Patriots did after they won their 3 Super Bowls, where it was like, okay, yeah, they're still a playoff team, they're still dangerous in the AFC, but I don't know if they're going to be early Chiefs. Where it's just like AFC Championship every single year. And in this game, I think it's going to show a little bit more. I got the Eagles winning 31-28. I do think it is going to be a high scoring game for sure.
I'm like, what is on my hand? It's like black.
Dude, stop digging in your ass, bro.
No, yeah, if you think it's going to be a lull, type of a thing, but the other thing is like Andy Reid's historically one of the best September coaches in the NFL.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I don't want to, I'm looking for any excuse not to pick Kansas City, but I just feel like if we're streaming, and by the way, why is that not on prime time? This is America's game of the week because it is the late
of the late slate games, but I no offense, but I think it should be Sunday Night Football.
When I was in 6th grade, I dated 3 Chelseas at the same time just to see
Hot.
what would happen.
Little slut.
I was just dumb. Like I was like, I didn't think it. I don't know what I was doing. I was just an idiot. But I remember one time going. They were all like in different like parts. They didn't cross paths.
Mm,
And one time I saw them all in the hallway talking, and I was like,
fuck.
"What? They don't know each other. What would they be talking about?" Ron! Kirk Cousins is gonna watch the Vikings, who replaced him
Mm,
with JJ McCarthy, take on the Falcons, who replaced him
mm.
for Michael Penix. The poor guy has to just stand on the sideline like and watch. Not like me. I guess it was my fault. It was 6th grade,
100% your fault.
But still, McCarthy is I went back. My brother walked in the room. He goes, "Are you just watching film?"
You're like,
I
yeah.
watched an hour film of every pass McCarthy made on the Bears game, and his receivers let him down. There was a lot of things that didn't go their way. Early third downs were rough for the Vikings, but there was a lot of routes where they were running, mesh routes, but they were running it shallow of the first down. And like uncharacteristic things like Justin Jefferson running mesh routes into his receiver instead of getting that right spacing. There were multiple plays where they get a man to go out and then he comes back and they snap it. It's a timing thing, but the motion was not timed right. It was like the receivers made quite a bit of drive ending mistakes. But some of the notes that I did write down, I like the aggressiveness from McCarthy. There was a couple times where you see him take a deep shot. I thought one of the first downs was a really good play, but JJ does take off running while the intent of the play is still developing. Which I understand. Sometimes you go first read, second read, it's not there, pockets crashing, you got to go. But then there were other times where he went first read, second read, play, the intent of the play still developing. There wasn't any pressure yet, and he ran.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like the speed he was playing at was a little sped up. But that's to be expected. It was his first game. But like I said, he was not to blame for a lot of the 3 and outs that happened. The interception wasn't actually that bad of a play. When I watched it in real time, I thought that was terrible. When you actually pause it and look at what McCarthy saw, first off, McCarthy made at least 4 throws with incredible anticipation. And that's what we saw in the offseason. Remember that clip where he throws it before he's breaking, and he did that in this Bears game a couple of times. The Bears player, he was actually an undrafted guy that was on the practice squad what was his name? They elevated him and he had the 76-yard interception.
No. That was Nahshon Wright had the interception. No, he wasn't undrafted. The Bear, he was on the Cowboys last year, I believe, or the last couple seasons.
But he was on the practice squad this year, right? And they elevated him for the game.
No, not that I can recall. He had made the 53-man roster coming out of training camp. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was a long shot. He definitely was a long shot for sure.
Okay, so maybe that's where it got confused. But Nahshon Wright, he did reach 21.66 miles per hour on that pick six, which is
fast.
Pretty freaking fast. Caleb Williams also averaged 3.34 seconds time to throw, his second longest in his career. So at least he was hanging in the pocket a little bit. But anyway, McCarthy. I got to say, the 25-yard go route to get into the red zone, that was amazing. The next pass was a touchdown. That was an amazing throw. The next drive, JJ had a huge drop from Justin Jefferson that would have put the ball inside the 10. Aaron Jones' touchdown was another just great play by McCarthy. So like it took a while for McCarthy to settle in to life as a quarterback in the NFL in real time. But his players did him no favors in the first half. And when the game was all said and done, and I really went back and looked at it, I thought McCarthy played with great anticipation, great IQ, and a really good balance between hanging in the pocket long enough and when to bail, because you have to. In order to avoid a negative play. There was only one time I thought he bailed early, like I said. So
yeah.
I'm looking at both of these teams that have moved off of Kirk Cousins, and right now I'm thinking they both made the right decision. Michael Penix Jr. looked really good last week, really good. The one thing with Atlanta, I didn't see them pushing the ball vertically down the field as much as I thought. There wasn't a lot of Penix throwing the ball. If I'm not mistaken, there wasn't any play where he threw the ball like between 10 and 19 yards. So it was like these short dink and dunks, and then there was like one big time throw. But
Bijan had that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think for the Falcons offense, we expected these guys to push the ball down the field and be a little more powerful, like 4 vertical type of offense to create space for Bijan.
Yeah.
We didn't see that a ton. So I'm wondering if this is the week that we're going to see it, but I think this is going to be an incredible game. I think it's going to go over 44.5 points.
Yeah.
I don't know who to pick, to be totally honest. Like, I thought the Falcons played a really good game. I just totally just like, I don't have a lean. I'm just excited as a fan. If I have to pick, I'm going to go. I'm going to go Penix because of the experience.
Ooh, okay.
The experience. It's not his second start. I thought the Bears just offensively were lackluster, and because of that, they weren't able to really put the Vikings out. They gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter, and that's kind of what, allowed them to. So I don't want to just have one fourth quarter for the Vikings and be like, okay, the Vikings are good. I want to see it again, and I want to see it in the first quarter. And I want to see them play another competent offense that, had they played like that against the Vikings, maybe Atlanta would have scored, 3 more extra touchdowns that the Bears couldn't. So I'm going to go with what I know, and that's the Falcons for right now. But I'm encouraged by the Vikings, and I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Falcons also on this game. Because Penix had the experience, but man, what JJ McCarthy did in that fourth quarter last week on Monday Night Football with the Bears, it just speaks to JJ McCarthy's confidence and Kevin O'Connell's coaching that confidence. And there's a quote where he's like, "You're going to bring us back into this game." And what happened when you get that from a coach as a young quarterback, and really as a player at any level in football, you just feel like, okay, it's not that I owe it to him, but I think I know I can do it now with his confidence. So I like this game to be very close. And Penix, credit to him last week. Younghoe Koo let him down. Their kicker let him down because Penix brought them all the way downfield for what seemed like a chip shot type of field goal. And Younghoe Koo just kind of let him down. So
yeah, he can't make it unless it's 64 or longer.
Yeah, it's either the extra point or a 60+ yarder.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Falcons, and I'm going to go Falcons because of the experience with Penix. Bijan Robinson, I like him better over Mason and Aaron Jones. But when it comes to receivers, Jefferson going up against London and Kyle Pitts, which Kyle Pitts looked pretty damn good in that first game. Penix is like, oh, I have a fucking big time tight end. Let me throw it to him. I think it's kind of even playing field on the receiver end. Justin Jefferson is really their biggest target and their best wide receiver, although TJ Hawkinson can show up in big moments. I am going to take Atlanta to win this game based on the offensive weapons. I think the defense for Minnesota is going to make it hard for Penix to do it. But I think, again, Penix is going to be able to do it. And watch for a ton of sideline shots of Kirk Cousins in this game. But I'm taking the Falcons to win on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, and Drake London on that final drive the Falcons had wasn't on the field because he was in the blue tent. And we saw a lot of targets go to Kyle Pitts. So
yeah, there you go.
We'll keep an eye on that. But you and I both going Falcons week 1 and week 2. Hopefully we don't get burned 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, because after that, I'm not picking them.
Because the team we both passed on when we picked the Falcons was the Buccaneers, who are taking on the Texans. A tough one, another tough one, because the Texans, they played the Rams, who I have as like an NFC championship type team. And the Texans ended up losing that game. It was actually DeMeco Ryans. I believe that was his 3rd game or his 4th game since being the head coach for the Texans, where they had 0 touchdowns offensively. So I thought, Texans 3rd game with 0 touchdowns in the entire game. The Texans had 4 drives in the second half. 2 of them were turnovers. 2 of them were punts on 4 drives. That was it. So this was not a good game for the Texans.
No.
The Buccaneers, they have this high octane offense. It never really got going. My expectations for Bucky Irving couldn't be higher. I have him as like the best fantasy running back in the NFL this year. He was able to catch like 9 passes that, carried his day, but and he got a touchdown on one of them, but running the ball was pretty much as bad as it gets. I think he ran it. It was crazy. It was like, I'm just making a number up here. It was like 20 for 30 yards. It was like
14 for 37. Yeah.
What was it?
14 for 37.
Yeah. That's just not it.
Bad.
Baker Mayfield went 17 for 32. The pass protection for the Bucs was good, but not nearly good enough against a team that lacks talent off the edge. And now the team that rushes the passer pretty well, the Texans with Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson, now they're on the menu and they're definitely going to get after him. And the secondary we already know is excellent. It's like the Steelers, Ravens, Texans, Broncos, the top 4 secondaries.
Yeah.
They kept him in the game last week against a strong Rams offense. And it was really their front where they made an impact because Kyren Williams only had 3.7 yards per carry. If they're going to have that similar success, people might hit the panic button on Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
But perhaps it was just rust. It's hard to tell. Like, are these teams just slow off the gate, or is there going to be an issue this week for the Buccaneers running the football, or the Texans going to be a really good rushing defense? But overall, I think if you're a Bucs fan, you didn't like what you saw from the Bucs, and you came away with it not thinking like they're a solid lock for winning their 5th straight division, title. It seems like the Falcons could easily do it. Emeka Egbuka, he had 2 touchdowns. Everything we heard out of camp was like that. Who is that guy? Right? The guy that looks like a tight end that runs like a receiver. He was amazing. And you still got the injury going on with the other receiver, not Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who had ankle surgery. So I don't know. Is he going to be in this game? Did it say?
Not too sure yet. I would have to double check. Yeah.
Okay. If not, it's going to be Mike Evans, and Odin is going to take is going to take a bunch of the snaps. But this is one of those games where I'm going to have to go with the home team.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield as an underdog because that seems more like it, right? Baker Mayfield as a favorite, I would take the Texans, but you want to make Baker an underdog, that's like his thing. I think Baker ends up winning this game, and at some point he's bleeding in his arm, and his towel has blood on it. I just see this as one of those like very physical football game, very violent of a football game. And Baker Mayfield, he's a man amongst boys, and I think he separates himself, maybe even runs a player over in this one. Give me the Bucks with a last-second field goal.
I am also taking the Bucks here because everything offensively that the Texans have done up until this point, and I'm talking about even last year, has looked bad. They got rid of their offensive coordinator. The offense didn't look any better last week. Yes, they were going up against the Rams defense, and I still have a lot of faith in CJ Stroud. It's just the offense right now, the play calling is not good. Give me Baker with Otton, with Bucky Irving, with Ibuka, with Mike Evans. Like, I think they're going to be able to get a lot past this Texans defense, but I don't think it's going to come easy. I do think it's going to be somewhat of a low scoring game with a couple touchdowns thrown by Baker. I can see this being like a 20-14 game. Maybe not Mixon, but Chubb can get into the end zone. Maybe Stroud can get it to Nico Collins for a couple scores there. But this might be a defensive type of struggle, at least for the Bucks. I just don't have any confidence in the offense right now for the Texans. So give me Bucks on this Monday night doubleheader to take the dub in Houston. Texans are going to start off 0-2 for the year.
All right. And our final game of week 2 is going to be an AFC West showdown. You're going to have to stay up on the East Coast till 10 p.m. just for kickoff. I love it. Yeah, I mean, how do you even go to work on Tuesday after that? You're like, I was up till 2 a.m. watching the Raiders and Chargers. Yeah, give me a dose of that. Look, I'm going to take the Chargers immediately when I see this. The Raiders are going to be at home, and the crowd's going to be into it, and this would be a statement win. I loved what I saw. Oh, I didn't personally love it. But if you're a Raiders fan, which I'm sorry, but if you are, you loved it. What you saw out of Chip Kelly's offense. Chip Kelly made his debut and showed you that at the very minimum, this offense is going to be competent. It is not going to be what you saw last year when it was just simply terrible. I thought Geno played a good game, like threw over 350 yards for like the 6th time or something in his career. So one of those big time games out of him. Didn't really see what we thought out of their rookie running back, who's supposed to be the next Adrian Peterson. Keep an eye on that. And for the Chargers, I just think they're a better football team. It's pretty simple. Like Justin Herbert, I think he's better than Geno Smith. I like the receivers. Quentin Johnston ended up getting 2 touchdowns. Is he finally taking the step where they drafted him as a first round wide receiver, and he was a project? So the thinking all along was that he would turn this corner. Is he finally doing it? We'll find out. But overall, maybe Najee Harris gets more involved. He only had 1 carry and in 1 catch in the last game. So it was pretty much all the rookie last week out of North Carolina, Omari and Hampton. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think they're the better team. I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. I think they're going to control the time of possession. I think they're going to extend drives, and I see this as a low-scoring 20-16 win.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, the Raiders at home, this is going to be a really good matchup in terms of coaches with Harbaugh and Pete Carroll. Like, this is going to be like, okay, these guys going at it, right? College into the NFL again, so on and so forth. You like to see, I mean, they were division rivals at one point with Seattle and San Francisco. So this is going to be fun to watch. A lot of cool things on both sides. I just don't think that the Raiders defense is prepared to take on such a offensive juggernaut, I would say, so far through week 1 of the Chargers. And Herbert, I mean, he threw for 318 passes. Keenan Allen got a touchdown. Quentin Johnson, you mentioned, just got 2 touchdowns. Land McConkey still had like 75 yards receiving. And Omari Hampton, 15 attempts, 48 yards. but Herbert also took the ball for 32 yards. So you're looking at close to 100 yards rushing between those two guys. I just don't think that the Raiders are prepared for this type of offense after going up against a very inexperienced Drake May, Kayshon Boutte type of offense, right? And even Ramondre Stevenson, I don't think in that game really did well for the Patriots. So I don't think they're equipped yet for this type of offense, and I think the defense is going to struggle on the Raiders. Geno and Genty and Bowers, those guys are going to, I think, try to do as much as they can to keep this game close. At the end of the day, I think the Chargers take advantage of that defense of the Raiders and take this dub. And I think it's going to be kind of a 27-20, 27-21 game Chargers with Herbert going over 300 yards passing again.
Hell yeah. Love it. All right. Well, that concludes our week 1 predictions. And now it's time for
top 5, no debating. Top 5.
Top 5. Rick?
Kyle?
Top 5.
Week 2, top 5 on the slate now. I feel like Kyle's going to be a little bit not disappointed, but I think he's going to like my top 5 here coming up. So let's get into it. Week 2, top 5. Kyle, I think you went first last time, so I will be going first this time. At number 5 for our week 2 top 5, I am going to go the Washington Commanders. They had somewhat of a convincing win against the Giants. They did the offensive line, and Jane Daniels did their job against that tough Abdul Carter-led defensive line for the Giants. They only scored 3 touchdowns, which I felt like it was a little bit less than expected, but they came out with the dub. And again, at the end of the day, that's all that matters against a division foe. I got the Commanders at number 5.
At number 5, I have the Denver Broncos. -2 yards in the second half. 130 yards in the game. Look, anytime your defense, they had 5 possessions just in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't score on any of them. And one of them started in the red zone. Like this is a defense. I'll tell you a secret. All 5 of my teams have a great defense.
Nice.
The Broncos have the best of that group. I want to see them play better offense this week, but as long as their defense continues to play like that, they're going to win probably 85-90% of their games this year.
Love it. At number 4 for me, they had a pretty epic fourth quarter collapse, and I believe they have the most losses in the fourth quarter when expected to win by over 90%. The Ravens. I've got the Ravens at 4. They put up an offensive clinic, I will say, up against a very inferior Bills defense. And yes, that defense for the Ravens did not come through in the fourth quarter, but the Ravens are still one of those teams where you're looking at them and you're like, look, early season struggles for the last couple of years has kind of been their thing. And they still have Lamar Jackson. They still have an all-star roster.
Ooh.
I think there's still a shoo-in for the division as well as a playoff. I'm going Ravens at 4.
I got I have the Bills and Ravens at 6 and 7, and it goes Bills Ravens. And I'm only saying that to say,
wow,
somebody released their top 5, Bucky Brooks, and he had the Bills at 3 and the Ravens at 7. And I said, how can that be if the Ravens are at 3? And think about it. Or the Bills were at 3, but they had to score 16 points in the final 2 minutes to beat them.
Yeah.
No matter how it's set up, both teams should be stacked. How do you have one at 3 and the other at 7? I mean, it makes no sense. But at number 4, I have the Chargers because they too have a great defense, but they had a better offense and they looked really good against the Chiefs. Like I said, they look like the best team in the AFC West right now. They look like they're going to be tough to beat, and they're going to win maybe 12 games this year.
Yeah.
So this is hardly surprising. I had the same teams in my top 5 last week, Just they were in a different order, but none of my top 5 teams lost in week 1.
Yeah.
And the Chargers were no exception. I got the Chargers at 4, and with the Raiders on the schedule, I think it's a good opportunity for them to show national television for the second week in a row that they're a serious contender.
Love it. At 3 for myself. Pains me to do this. Blech. I'm sorry, I'm throwing up a little bit in my mouth. I've got the Packers at 3. I didn't have them in my top 5 going into week 1, but what they were able to do against the Lions completely shut that offense down. Yes, they lost Ben Johnson. Yes, they lost Aaron Glenn on the defensive side for coordinators. But we were still expecting the Lions to have some semblance of an offense of what they've been the last 3 years. But the Packers defense absolutely shut it down. And you add Micah Parsons, he gets a sack towards the end of the game, and it looks a great pickup. 2, a young defense, a young team in general. Jordan Love had all day. And if he could just clean up those tiny mistakes, I think this offense is going to be much, much better off. You bring in Matthew Golden as your wide receiver 1, and you still got some very, very good guys in that wide receiver room, and with Tucker Kraft at tight end. The Packers, if they just continue to do this on the field, they're going to move up the rankings, and they're a Super Bowl favorite for a reason. That's why I got them at 3.
At number 3, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're just putting out a consistent product, right? The Eagles, you know what you're going to get every single time. They play a really good style of football as far as controlling the time of possession, converting on 3rd and 4th down. The tush push is becoming, every time I watch them, I'm like, this is amazing that there's this one play that only the Eagles can execute
every time.
And it is unstoppable. I mean, seriously, like if it's 3rd and 3 and you got the other team with only 1 timeout left, and if you get a first down, the game's over. You can just run the tush push twice, and it's like there's no suspense at all. You know you're gonna win. It's like whenever one team goes into every game with that in their pocket, it's really difficult for me to push them down, even though I wanted to see more. I wanted to see A.J. Brown with more than 1 target. I didn't think their offense looked that great, but I also think Dallas might be better than we expected, so I didn't want to overreact. But the Eagles, they are going to move from number 1 because to me, they just didn't look like the best team in the NFL week 1. And they did lose that coordinator. So this was my first time going, what's their offense going to look like? And I wasn't impressed. So they did enough to still be, the 3rd most dangerous team in the NFC, but I'm going to have them at 3.
All right. At number 2 for myself, I've actually got the Eagles at number 2. They lose Jalen Carter in that actually before even the first defensive play of that game happens. And while they did struggle, you saw against Javonte Williams in the run kind of early and often, they still were able to shut it down when they needed to, and they beat a much better Dallas Cowboys team than a lot of the NFL expected. And their division, they're Super Bowl champions. They're still kind of on pace to be that team in the NFC to beat, along with the Packers. And they showed some resilience against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's why I got the Eagles at number 2.
At number 2, I have the Washington Commanders.
Ooh.
The Washington Commanders, just like the Ravens, the only team that rushes for 200 or more yards, like 7 different times in the last, since 2024. And that's because they both have Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels is Lamar Jackson 2.0. And we've seen quarterbacks come in that are dual threats. None of them have been even close to what Lamar Jackson does production-wise. That's why last year we've never seen a quarterback in the NFL in history throw for, I think it was 3,500 plus yards and run for 900. And I think Lamar actually threw for over 4,000 yards over 4,200 and ran for almost 1,000.
Yeah, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's like the fact that Jaden Daniels is doing the same thing. The difference is like the Ravens are giving up 40 points. Like I think Dan Quinn in that defense, I don't see them like giving up those type of leads unless it's a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But overall, the Commanders coming into this season, adding Laramie Tunsil, adding Deebo Samuel, getting the deal done with Scary Terry, Jaden Daniels going into year 2, arguably already a top 5 quarterback. I think the Commanders are the team to beat in that division until something tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's why I got the Commanders at 2.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. At number 1 for myself, Kyle, I think is going to hate this, but I've got the Bills. I've got the Bills at 1. And it has a lot to do with Josh Allen. I know the defense was not good against that Ravens offense, but Josh Allen, 250 yards passing in the fourth quarter and being able to bring his team back. This is one of the reasons last year why he won MVP. This is what he does, man. In crunch time, Josh Allen just turns it up to 11 past 10 and goes, you know what? I'm still in this game regardless of the score, and this is how I'm going to prove it to you. And he goes on and wins the game. The defense definitely needs some help, especially against offenses like the Ravens. But and this isn't this sucks for the defense kind of mindset, but they're probably like, we have Josh Allen. I think regardless, we're still in this game, no matter how many points we let up. And that's why I got the Bills at number 1.
And they're telling the truth.
Yeah, and they're telling the truth. Yeah.
At number 1, and tonight's Thursday night football game, my number 1 and number 2 are playing. I got the Green Bay Packers at number 1. They were utterly dominant. Like Jordan Love had turned a corner in 2023 and ends up going 7-1 and then blows the Cowboys out 40 to whatever until they bench all their starters. And then he had a bad pick against the 49ers, but really it was like, that's how close that it was that he was going to be in his first year as a starter in an NFC championship game against the Lions. And then last year he opens up against Brazil and his knee blows out. I don't know how that didn't end his season, but he was not the same last year. Even when he came back from injury, I think a lot of people got hung up on that, where they still ended up winning 11, 12 games. Like this year, with Jordan Love being perfectly healthy and making that addition and bringing in Micah Parsons and that defense going into year 2 under Jeff Hafley, I thought, dude, the Packers are going to be really, really tough to beat. And that was before the Micah Parsons trade. So yeah, I'm looking at Green Bay right now as like one of those teams that's like, there's only a handful of times in a quarterback's, career that it was like, yeah, I should have won the Super Bowl that year. Aaron Rodgers in 2020, Aaron Rodgers in 2021. I think I meant when he won MVP, like Manning in 2013, Tom Brady in 2010. This is Jordan Love in 2025. Like this is the expectation. This is what this team is capable of. There is a lot of young talent on the team. They're very young, which can mean inexperienced, but there's nothing more dangerous than a young, hungry team. I like Green Bay. I think that's why Matt LaFleur is going to be more aggressive than ever. And tonight, I'm going to get a really good look at who's who in the zoo, because this is my 1 and 2. And if I had to pick today, this is my NFC championship, the 1 seed against the 2 seed.
Woo, there it is, our top 5 there on the ticker. That was
top 5, no debating. Top 5.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta get ready for work.
Me too. I gotta hang out with my brother because he's going. I gotta take him to the airport.
Okay. Do you want to do the quick little, or we'll save it for the next episode?
I'll save it for the next one.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for everybody that was here. We appreciate it. Me and Kyle got to get out of here. Ginger, Crafty, E-Dub, Lil E, Daniel Barry, everybody that was here. We really appreciate it. You know where to follow us except me. Go follow us at Only Football Pod and NFL with Kyle on X. Bill, love you forever. Thank you again to everybody who was here. Kyle, always a good time, brother.
Always a good time.